So I was going on shidduch dates and I was like, no one's for me. And then the messages started pouring in like, you need to change, you need to do something different. If you do music, no one's gonna want you.
So the creative parts of you had to be suppressed in order for you to feel like this is what a good religious girl looks like.
Absolutely. And people couldn't make sense of it. What do you mean? So she's from, but she's also like creative and she also travels the world and she also this, like, I don't think there's such a guy. Like that's...
When people said messages like, oh, but you're so unique, I don't know someone like that. What message did that give you?
That there's something wrong with me. Yeah. Really, really.
Where are you in life? What's your experience been as a bachelor?
My experience was spending some time here, taking trips. My guitar goes everywhere with me. I was just living, experiencing.
He's playing on the streets in the shuk.
And I started to just keep like reminding myself that I'm going to find someone who's aligned with this. And it doesn't matter if it looks different to everyone around me and they're confused by it or whatever, but I had to keep telling myself like, this is me, this is my life.
I love that.
Okay, so you think we're getting married? I think I said
Yeah, because I said that. I don't know. Well, you were the one who asked.
Yeah, no. It happened, which is crazy. The biggest blessing.
Welcome back to another episode of Stories of Hope. If you have ever been told that your uniqueness is hard to accommodate, that maybe you're too different and therefore there won't be someone out there for you, Yehuda and Nechama's story disproves all of those fears and insecurity. This is the episode that will remind you that who you are is the only person you're supposed to be, and you should never change the things that you love to find love. This episode has been sponsored in the zchus that Chaya Noga Bas Shoshana should find her basher this year. Please, God, may you reach out to us and invite us to your wedding. I am so excited for you to watch this incredible episode of Stories of Hope. But first, an important message from our friends at Joma Shop. I was recently in Scotland and London and saw someone with a beautiful watch. I asked them where it was from, and it's from Joma Shop. They have over 1,000 brands carrying over 75,000 products in the fields of accessories, fragrances, jewelry, watches, whatever you want, they have it. They have over 1 million reviews. As a company that's been around since 1999, Joma Shop really has everything you want. When I was in the London airport, I saw a pair of sunglasses I wanted. I always get sunglasses at the airport because then it's duty free. But I checked Joma Shop and it was actually cheaper to purchase them from Joma Shop. So thank you, Joma Shop, for providing the best prices, the best accessories. If you want to make a purchase for you, a loved one, a friend, an anniversary, a birthday, you don't need to waste time looking anywhere else. Go to Joma Shop. I can guarantee you they won't just have what you need, but they'll probably have more. And the best part is if you put down in the discount code SOH120 to receive $120 off your purchase of $3,000 or more. So go to jomashop.com to find the best product for the best price from the best place. Hi, I'm Tzipora Grodko, and this is the Stories of Hope podcast. I am so excited to have Nechama and Yehuda here all the way from Las Vegas.
Yes. We were all traveling last night, so.
True. We've got Las Vegas, London, Scotland. Nissan came all the way from down the block.
Nice.
But this is a real honor, and I really appreciate you coming in.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
So we're going to jump right in. Nechama, tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, the little spiel.
Okay, so I'm from Lakewood. And I grew up, Lakewood and yeah, I'm the second of 6 siblings, went to Beis Yaakov schools. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist.
Okay. Basic, Lakewood, Beis Yaakov.
Yeah.
Sounds predictable.
At least until 18, 19, 20. And then I kind of, went different directions, but we can get there, I guess.
We'll get there. Yeah, I'm excited. We'll get there. Yehuda.
I grew up in Boca Raton, Florida, before it was cool. It was small and out of town at the time, which was nice, but I did feel, a little bit like wonder what it's like in other places. What are other people like now if I were to grow up there? So I'd feel like a New Yorker.
Yeah.
But it was nice. And I went to a few different schools, different hashkafas, but mostly modern Orthodox family. My father was the son of a Holocaust survivor, but also, it has its generational traumas. And my mother is a Baal's Tshuva, so also just like fun mix. I don't know if I'm in any specific category or box, but
None of us are.
Okay, the important question is, did you know what Lakewood was?
No, I didn't really know what Lakewood was until
he got very much introduced in, when he came into my world.
Yeah, I mean, I knew about it already. Maybe I heard like it mentioned. I didn't really understand what it meant until after high school and yeshiva. Maybe I understood a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't understand it until I moved there, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a little point where you moved there.
I moved there when I got married.
Well, you actually moved there when we were engaged, remember?
Right.
He got an apartment with some other guys randomly just so that we could be closer and not commuting the whole time. And then we got married and we lived in Lakewood for 3 years?
4 years.
So,
4 years?
This podcast could even have a different title at this point, from Lakewood to Las Vegas, but I don't want to jump the gun.
Sounds dramatic.
I don't want to jump the gun. Yeah. So tell us, growing up in Lakewood, you already gave us a little sneak peek that you maybe had a different lifestyle than what you were taught growing up. Tell us a little bit about what it was like for you when you decided you wanted to start dating.
Yeah. So when I wanted to start dating was actually right when I got back from seminary. And the first seminary that I went to was, pretty Beis Yaakov, still in line with what I was doing my whole life. But my whole life, I was not happy with, the system and, whatever we want to call it. So I still was on that path of like, I'm just going to keep doing what I think I should be doing until I decided otherwise. But so I did go to seminary, Beis Yaakov seminary. And then I came back and then I basically, just like a lot of people do, started dating. And I was 19 and I just went on some shidduch dates and got set up. And I was just like, I don't even know what this is. So after like, I don't know, a year or so, I guess, trying to think, I was 20 turning 21 when I was like, okay, hold on. I'm not going to continue living this way, dating this way, like nothing. Like I need to come back to myself. I need to be true to who I am. Like this is great for whoever it works for, but I'm just not meant to be living this way. This just isn't true to who I am. And I went to Neve in Israel, in Yerushalayim. And there I just like uncovered just my connection to Judaism. I feel like I relearned it from the ground up. I had to unlearn a lot of beliefs, relearn a lot of beliefs in terms of like emotionally and spiritually speaking. And then when I came back from Neve, I continued dating and it was much better, but I still didn't really know how to like break out of the system barriers. So I was going on shidduch dates and I was like, no one's for me. And then the messages started pouring in like, you need to change, you need to do something different. You just went to Neve. Even when I wanted to go to Neve, people were telling me like, if you go to Neve, what's that going to say about your name? I started getting these messages, even just from before that, people were like, you're crazy. You can't go to Neve. That's not for a from girl to go to. So yeah, it was.
And I want to pause you here when you say you started dating and you just came back from seminar and it wasn't for you. When you say it, can you give us a little bit of a picture of what your lifestyle was like and what didn't feel authentic to you?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, very Beis Yaakov mentality. I am just a very creative, free-flowing, just, I care about like depth and connection and soul and music and, like all of this stuff. I actually put out my album right before I went to Neve and I was like, bye, let me just put this out and I'll just leave because I don't want to know the reaction because like I just, people are telling me also like, if you do music, you're not going to, get a shidduch, like you're ruining your name. No one's going to want you.
Because it wasn't considered.
It's not proper. It's not sneas. You shouldn't be in the spotlight. I mean, endless messages about like, oh, you can do choirs for, schools or you can be. And I'm like, but that's not what I want to do. I'm an artist. I write songs. They're like, you don't need to write. You can just do a choir. I'm like, No. So it's been a lot of those messages that I've been fighting and relearning how to like come back to myself. And it took a long time. Neve was just like that start.
So the
of that
creative parts of you had to be suppressed in order for you to feel like this is what a good religious girl looks like.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because I was relatively doing everything else that I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't rebellious in any form. I wasn't, my rebellion was asking questions and being creative, which is sad because why shouldn't we be able to ask questions and learn more about Torah in a way that, feels, I don't know, unique to us? Like we should have that connection. And then being creative, like why would that be a bad thing?
Yeah. I mean, Pesach's all about asking questions. We're always told when we're reading Chumash or Tanakh or something, like, what are they trying to tell us? What's the question here? Yeah. So it's confusing that message has echoed a lot in a lot of the episodes we talk about. Like, asking questions leads to insight and growth, and it's confusing when you're not encouraged to do so.
There should also be 4 daughters?
I don't know if this is the podcast for that.
It's just embodying the idea that you should be asking questions. But,
but I will say, so at this point, how did you independently come up with that idea of, let me go back to Israel to maybe learn in a way that I wasn't taught? Because I would think someone else, and maybe this happened to you, would get angry and decide, if this is what being Jewish means, I'm going to go the opposite. And it sounds like maybe you did, but it sounds like there was a point where you said, I actually want to go back and I know there's a different way. I just haven't been taught it.
Yeah.
What was it like for you?
It's actually really, that's a great question, because I think that I always wondered, and I think now maybe I understand, but I always wondered, like, what made me not be rebellious? Why didn't I throw the whole thing away? But I think I just had such a strong spiritual connection. Like, I was like, I think this is it. I think Hashem is real. I think, like, I feel it. I almost like I can't throw it away because it can't be it. I used to actually say, like, Hashem wouldn't agree with this, or like, I know Hashem is fine with this, or like, and my parents and friends and everyone, they'd be like, okay, Nechama, like, but I really felt like I knew what was truth, and I felt it. And I was like, I'm not going to throw this all away because I believe this is real and I believe this is it. I can find my own way within it.
Wow. And at this point, how old are you in Neve?
I was 20. I turned 21 when I was in Neve. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the plot twist. So Nechama's 21. Where are you, Yehuda?
At that time? In high school, graduating high school? Was that
because when I was 21, you were 18, right?
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I was in yeshiva already. Was I in Israel at the same time?
Oh, yeah. We actually overlapped, I think, because I was there 2013, 2014. And
so that's when I was also Shana Aleph.
Okay. So either you had just maybe the first year you had just graduated, or you were in high school, because you are 3 years younger than Nechama?
Yeah, almost 3.
Yeah, almost 3. 2 years and 10 months to be exact.
Okay, 2 years and 10 months.
Right. So when she was in Neve, I think I was in the shuk, running around playing music on the street.
Yeah, you only told me after, because I remember going to the shuk on Fridays and I would see these guys, like, you were dressed up like a farmer or a cowboy or something.
That was Shana Bays, yeah.
Okay, so that's when I remember, I'm like, yeah, those guys who make tons of money, they're sitting there playing music like on Friday in the shuk. Meanwhile, I had no idea.
The Israelis had never seen a banjo, so it was like
it was
really
a very unique like
maker.
Farmer vibe, and I was just like, okay,
you actually
do your
made
thing.
money?
Oh, lots.
I saw because the thing with your guitar cases or whatever it was were packed.
Lots of shekels.
I feel like your primary audience was probably seminary girls.
No, we had everyone. Everyone. There, people would stop. Yeah.
Okay.
Fight for
I didn't even like take specific note. Like, I remember just seeing guys in farmer whatever, and I was just like, oh, cute, good for them, like playing music. Like and
it's so ironic,
I had no idea,
because your musical aspirations were being squished and his musical aspirations were shining.
Yeah,
really
very
interesting.
ironic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
but she got an album out. I didn't.
Well, us women, we always try to be one step ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm. When you have like a lot of pressure on you, you get a diamond. So she like fought it, and I was just like, I could play
It's
music
true.
whenever I want.
I think he was just casual, and I was like, oh, I want to write and I want to do my music. Like, I have to fight against my whole life, my family, my world, my society. I have to like fight against everything to be able to do this. So it meant so much to me to like push through.
And I think things have changed a little bit in reference to like women in the music industry now, right?
So different. Yeah. Which
Thanks
is
to
amazing.
He's your biggest fan.
Thank you.
Yeah. And after you came back from Neve, he's playing on the streets in the shuk. You came back from Neve and you're ready to start dating again.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you holding in reference to like your religious clarity and what you want?
Yeah. So I would say that the way that I live now is very similar to then. I feel like that was the big turning point of just being like me within Judaism and realizing I can be myself. And I started to just keep like reminding myself and fortifying myself that this is the life that I'm going to live, and I'm going to find someone who's aligned with this. And it doesn't matter if it looks different to everyone around me and they're confused by it or whatever, but I had to keep telling myself like, this is me, this is my life. I'm done. Like, I'm done pretending, I'm done living in a way that's not true to me. And it's so funny because now I'm like, it's not even so dramatic. Like, it's not like I'm a frum woman today. So like, what's so different? It's just when you grow up so extreme, like in a very specific environment and you don't know much else, like it feels very out there. But
can you give me some examples? Like when you say, this is what I do now.
This is what I do now.
And that was what I was told I couldn't do.
What was I told I couldn't do? I mean, really everything.
Everything different, everything that felt maybe
everything expressive. Everything, even just emotion. I know it sounds sad, but it is. It's like emotion, just feeling the range of emotions was just like, no, you're just supposed to do what you need to do. Like, you're supposed to do what's right. It doesn't matter how you feel. That's like a huge message that I grew up with. So, and not asking questions, and creativity being unsneas. Yeah, just all of these messages that were like, you need to do this a certain way, and there's no room for discussion. There's no room for humanity almost.
And it's interesting. I was thinking the other day that the word spirituality in it is the word spirit. So we can't take away our spirit, which is supposed to help us live spirituality.
Exactly.
And it sounds like your spirit was being taken away a little bit.
Yes.
So while you were dating, was it a simple process for you?
I mean,
after you came back from Neve and you had more clarity, what was that chapter like for you?
Yeah, I mean, my parents were very supportive of, in the sense that they were like, okay, let's just find people who are, good for Nechama. Let's, but there didn't seem to be, at least at the time, there just didn't seem to be anyone who made sense for, and people couldn't make sense of it. If my mother was like, oh, let me ask my friend if she has someone, and they were just like, what do you mean? So she's from, but she's also like creative, and she also travels the world, and she also this, like, I don't think there's such a guy. Like, that's, because I was out there in terms of like being myself, but I wasn't ever, like I said, rebellious, or I don't know, I just didn't go in that direction. So people have a hard time understanding what that looks like. And people
when people said messages like, oh, but you're so unique, I don't know someone like that. What message did that give you?
That there's something wrong with me. Yeah. Really, really. It's sad to think about. And it's like, to reminisce on that feeling is hard. Yeah. Because I sit here now happy with 2 kids, and it still hurts to think about it, like there's something wrong with me. People don't understand me. My whole life I'm just like, people don't get me. People don't understand me. They're telling me there's no such thing. What am I supposed to do? What's going to happen to me? Like, am I really going to find? And that's why I was saying before, like, I had to keep reminding myself over and over, like, Hashem won't abandon you. Like, he gets you. It'll be fine. Hashem gets it. Hashem knows. And just keep hoping and keep trying.
Hard.
Yeah.
Very hard to do, especially when you have a wave of voices telling you otherwise.
Exactly.
And how old were the 2 of you when you met?
I was 23.
And I was 26.
26. Yeah. And I feel like 26 in some communities can feel like 45 sometimes. I don't know. It depends. Subjective.
Yeah, it really is crazy.
Did you feel like you were a young 26? Or
oh, no. I said my family jokes because I said when I turned 26, I'm like, okay, I'm almost 30. And they were like, you're not almost 30, but...
I always laugh when
because now when I say I'm turning 32, he's like, okay, you're almost 50. Like,
I thought she was 19 when I met her.
And then he kept joking about like, oh, anytime people asked how old we were, like, oh yeah, she's 19 for the past bunch of years. But yeah, no, I felt very old, which is crazy, but I felt old, like within my family. I mean, my younger sister got married before me, had kids before me. All my cousins, all my relatives, like I was the older single. Like I hope Nechama, like I hope it works out. Like people almost like didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to think about it because it was just like, hopefully Nechama will be okay, you know?
Yeah. Oof. We'll be right back to our episode, but first, you have to check out Pizza Biza, making fresh hot pizzas on the spot by their professional chefs, indoor or outdoor in their pizza ovens, meat or dairy, plus full catering around the tri-state area and Florida. Specializing in events with several hundred people with no lines. You heard right. Full menu. You have to check them out on Instagram at Pizza Biza and visit them at pizzabiza.com. Best part, mention Meaningful Minute and get $500 off your next event. Pizza's my favorite food, so please invite me, Pizza Biza, on Instagram and check them out at pizzabiza.com. Say Meaningful Minute and get $500 off your next event. These are the people you want to call. Pizza Biza, I'll see you at my next event. Can we go a little deeper into what that felt like for you? Like watching younger siblings get married, feeling pity from other people, no matter what age someone is that's listening to this. In their respective community, they could feel like they were you at that time. And I really want listeners to understand how difficult it is. Are you comfortable talking about that chapter?
Yeah, sure. I'm an open book. Yeah, I mean, I felt a lot of people disrespected me because I wasn't married. And like my opinions weren't valuable. Like I just wasn't as like I got seated at the kids' table by these simchas and stuff because I'm like, oh, I'm not married. I can't be with which is crazy. It just made me feel stupid, basically. That's really what it felt like. Everybody was out to get me, not because I thought that they were malicious, but because I thought that they were so sold on the idea that you need to be married that you couldn't entertain anything else. Like it just wasn't, it was like, I don't know what to do with you. And therefore, I was like, now, maybe that's where my social anxiety was born now that I'm talking about this, Like, it's hard to know where you fit in or what your place is. And for people to just treat you in a way where they don't know what to do with you, so now you don't know what to do with you. And it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah. And as you're hearing her say this, what are you thinking, Yehuda? No.
It's just hard to imagine. I'm saying it's so different than my experience with things. It's just such a weird system, and I tend to reject those things, so I don't even get started. So it's hard to even put myself in the same shoes.
Yeah.
High heels, whatever.
You are funny. Okay, we have some comedy on the side.
I'm trying to tone it down a little bit.
No, this isn't very toned.
So tell us what's happening for you at this time. Nechama's 20.
When we met, I was 26 and he's 23.
Okay, so Nechama's 26 pre-meeting you. You're 23. Where are you in life? What's your experience been as a bachelor?
My experience was, some people have said bohemian. If you know what that means, it's I guess very artistic, very nomadic, spending some time here, different places in the world, taking trips to New Zealand, Iceland, Spain, with friends, without friends. My guitar goes everywhere with me. I was just living, experiencing, especially growing up in Florida. I was just feeling like there must be other things than beaches and palm trees. So if there was a place with mountains. Just funny,
that's what everyone runs to now.
No,
and
not
it's
for
he's
me.
Like, I don't want that.
So anywhere with cool people, cool experiences, music. I was in school here and there, in and out. I went to college after yeshiva in Landers in Queens for a few semesters. And I ended up in California for a year. And then I came back and I was in Brooklyn College for a couple semesters. I switched
Right down the block here.
Yeah, close by. I had 5 different majors. I spent 5 semesters in college and each one a different major. And I was like, this is it. I'm going to do this. And then that final one, I was a film major, which I thought was really cool. After realizing the semester before that a music major was just too much work. I didn't want to learn that much piano. So I thought film would be cool. And I was like, okay, I'll do this. And at the end of the semester, I was like, I think I'll do another semester of film. And then I met Nechama, I got married, and that was it.
Wait. We're not there yet.
Okay.
So did your parents support this, like, self-exploration, the travel?
My mother did.
Your mother did.
My father did. He had to fight with himself. Like on one hand, he was very self-made. He got full ride to Cooper Union, very smart, math, engineering, whatever. His parents didn't pay for anything for him. He learned everything on his own. He's all about, making money and then getting married. And on the other hand, he also appreciates music a lot and the arts and things. He just wanted what was best for me and didn't think that I would necessarily end up able to support myself if I kept up with these tendencies. So it was always a back and forth. But he was trying to be helpful as much as possible. And I always thought I had a plan. I'm a smooth talker. So I was able to convince him here and there to let me do things and give me a little support as much as I could get. And I figured it out.
Yeah. And during this portion of time, were you thinking about dating in a relationship?
I wasn't definitely not thinking about dating for marriage or feeling that I was ready. I mean, I was always yearning and looking, and I had that romantic streak of knowing that I would find whoever is right
songs
for me.
About it.
Yeah, I wrote songs and, but I never felt like I was always looking, but I was never looking with a pressure or feeling like time's ticking.
Yeah.
I was just looking.
And I feel like when you're looking without that pressure, would you agree that it enables you to appreciate this chapter of life and enjoy it and maybe travel and explore and, this major's not working, maybe try a different one?
Yeah, I definitely didn't feel like anything had such serious consequences. Like if I don't do this or if I do this or whatever it is, it's gonna ruin everything or I'm gonna miss out. I was always just thinking like, what's the best way I can set myself up for taking opportunities when they come to me and then just going to let them come to me.
Yeah. I love that. And let's start with the story. How did the two of you meet?
Yes. You want to dive in or should I?
It was a dark and stormy night. No, but actually,
it really was.
We were at Sababa Fest. It was my second year going and maybe the 3rd or 4th year they ever had it. Now it's very popular and it's been a bunch of years. They just had Zusha and Matis Yahu at their last one, which was pretty cool.
Ramping it up.
Yeah. And I was playing on like the porch of some bunkhouse. It was raining. It was the very beginning of, it was like a Thursday night. And some people were playing guitar. I was on a cajon. It's like a box drum. And we were just jamming. And out of the dark and the rain appear a few girls, all muddy and wet, hair plastered and whatever. And like they seemed.
Sababa's in a forest.
It was at a camp that year.
It was on a campground, but it was so. There was like an insane
the weather was
storm.
Crazy.
The mud
muddy.
was like up to my knees. I was like Yeah, it was a disaster.
They got there late. I was there already for a while. I was all settled and good. And she appears out of the rain and was talking to like some of the people playing guitar. I don't remember what you were asking or saying. Maybe she was looking to borrow a guitar. Mm-hmm. She was gonna perform. I was just like, whatever. I was playing drums. And she asks to play one of the guitar. Oh no, she asked to borrow the guitar, and one of the performers say, "If you
only if you play,
you
only
can play
if you
something
sing for us
first." Or,
I said I don't sing in front of men, but I can play guitar.
Sorry, I'm just rooting for my girl.
Yeah. So she was protecting the men by not singing in front of them, and they were like, "Okay." So
so I grabbed the guitar to walk to like find a spot because it was a crowded porch, and then as I passed by him, he's like, "You need a pick," and I'm like, "Sure." I guess I could play with a pick without a pick, but it's easier with a pick. So I put out my hand and he drops it from like here.
Show me
I
style.
caught it, but
respectful,
Yeah, very respectful, which definitely caught my attention because
And then I got right back to playing.
In that environment, it's not necessarily.
So it caught your attention that he was so respectful to Shomer Nagia.
Yes.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shomer Nagia.
Exactly.
So she definitely also looked like the type like that wouldn't, already from the interaction and from how she was dressed and everything, more tznius than other people. I feel like she would especially, want, so I was just like being extra careful.
More respectful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then
I'll pause you here.
Yeah.
So then Nechama, tell us from your perspective what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we arrived. I took my friends in the car with me.
Before you even ask, was this your first time at Sababa?
Yes.
Was this your first time ever doing anything like this?
First ever, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that decision?
It was actually obviously Hashem, but very odd that I saw on Instagram a post, something about Sababa Fest. I had no idea what it was. I'm reading like the caption about like, oh, music festival for Jewish artists. And I was like, this sounds fun, like a shabbaton for music, like so exciting. And I'm looking at the lineup of the people and I see there's no women. And I don't know what possessed me because I put out my album in 2013 and this was 2019. I was taking a break, still kind of am working on something new now, but it's been years. So I'm just like, I don't know what possessed me. I just messaged them and I'm like, hi, love what you're doing. Do you have any women or for women only, like, shows or things like over this weekend? Cause I'll volunteer. And he was like, sure, volunteer, like, come on over. Mm-hmm. And I was like, can I bring a couple friends with me? Sure. So that's really how it happened. And then that Thursday, as I'm packing up to leave, I'm standing in the kitchen telling my mother, like, I just don't know if I should do this. Like, this is not really me. I'm sure people there are a little bit more free-spirited than me in ways. And I'm like, I don't know. That's not me. But like, I still think it will be fun. But like, I don't know why I even signed up for this. Like, what am I doing? Maybe I should back out. She's like, you can't really back out. It's tonight. Like, so I was like, okay, you know what? It'll be meant to be. Like, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do it. Packed up the car.
You just felt a pull to go,
yeah,
even though it was uncharacteristic of your lifestyle. Like you knew, like, oh, I don't know if I'll really blend in, but I just feel like I want to go.
Right. Exactly. I don't know why. I mean, I have friends of all kinds. I am like, and I'm just a little more reserved in certain ways, but I just was like, wait, I don't know if being in an environment of like 600 people, it's massive, that are like, wow. I just didn't know if it was going to be for me. I was like, what am I getting myself into, basically? But yeah, so I packed up the car. It was pouring rain. I'm driving. We're almost there. And I was like, I think I left my guitar in the driveway in the rain. Like, and we realized it wasn't in the car. My friends were like, oh my gosh, just calm down. I was like panicking. So then when I got there, my phone had no service. I had a college essay due at 11:59 that I didn't finish yet. But I had no service, no anything. I had my laptop with me. I had no guitar. I was also missing some like plug audio piece that was going to connect my guitar to an amp. Like, but it was just a disaster, basically. I'm trudging in the mud with my stuff, my like mud up to my knees, hair soaking wet, just like disheveled, starving. We had just missed the dinner cut off. Like it
just sounds about right.
It was just crazy. So I was asking around, someone please, I know people have guitars here, I'm sure. So please just direct me to someone who you think maybe has a spare or would be okay with me borrowing it so I can get set up, because my show was Friday afternoon and it was a for women only like set.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's basically what happened. Someone told me to go onto that porch and that someone has a guitar, and then I went, and then he asked if I could sing/play, and then I played some guitar, got the pick. Didn't think much of it except for the Shomer situation. I was just like, okay, that's nice, because maybe I wasn't sure if people here were on my page in that way. So I was like, that's respectful. And then what happened after that? I borrowed the guitar. Then people were like, oh, let's jam, like with friends. People were jamming. So I'm like, I was like, I hope I can use the guitar now, not just for tomorrow. So which is a bad idea. I was playing it and I was standing on this other porch, and my friend was sitting on like the railing. Basically, long story short, she ended up getting knocked into me. I flew back into the wall. The guitar got dented.
Your
broken.
Guitar.
No,
this is not his guitar. This is someone.
Okay.
And then I see him in the jamming down there, and I'm like, oh, that's the pick guy. he just saw what happened, and he must be friends with that other guy because he was on the porch with him. Let me go ask him to tell him that it wasn't my fault.
I was not friends with him. I had just met him.
I was just like, like, oh, you. Actually, you were kind of making your way over to my
Yeah, I
side
saw what
anyway.
happened. I was like, ooh, yikes. And I was
I
already
will say,
thinking,
for everything you guys described up until this point, it makes so much sense that someone's guitar would get like bashed in or broken. Like it just
Yeah.
makes sense aligned with this weekend.
Exactly.
So these things are happening. You're getting connected. What ends up happening over the course of Shabbos? Are you spending time together, or you're doing your own things? And then tell us a little bit about like what happened after Shabbos or throughout Shabbos.
Well, there was a lot of
Well, I borrowed his guitar in the end,
Right.
basically, because I was like, I have to now go explain this to this other person, but now do you have a guitar? And he's like, I have insurance on my guitar, so here you go.
And I had 2 guitars, and I gave her the one that wasn't as fancy. Still good.
But anyway, so I borrowed his guitar. So then I knew that I would be seeing him again, and my friend was like, oh, what about that guy? Like that. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I'm good. Like,
He shot you down.
I mean, I wasn't there at the time when.
Right. This was, so, but then
I was still
apparently-
very determined. I just ended up following her all over, pretty much.
The rest of Shabbos, he basically followed me
Ended
around.
up where she was.
Magically appeared at the Shabbos meal, asked to sit next to me. There was one seat next to me. And just ended up schmoozing. And yeah, that's basically how it all happened.
And when did you find out how old she was? And did that bother you?
I don't know. We talked a lot. She, I guess, brought it up at some point. I did,
me, the self-conscious
memory,
one, brought it up.
It's not a big deal.
Right.
What'd you say? Sorry?
Like subconsciously in my memory, I don't have any like distinct recollection because if she brought it up, I was just like, okay, my father is 5 years younger than my mother. So I don't really think that's any sort of big deal. But if you say so,
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like Hashem planted seeds.
Yeah.
It was odd because
course.
I'm like, how old are you? Thinking like if we're getting along in any way, and like maybe there's something.
She was like
potential.
a checklist in her head, I'm just
I'm
like, whatever.
Yeah, and he's like 23, and I'm like, he's like, why? How old are you? 26. So he's like, okay. My parents are 5 years apart. My mother's 5 years older than my father. I'm like, okay, so you think we're getting married? I think I said.
Yeah,
He was
because I
like,
said
maybe.
that. I don't know. Well, you were the one who asked.
Yeah, no. It was
Wow.
funny. So
And
yeah.
did you mind that he was 23?
No, I originally thought I might mind. Like when people asked it, like younger, older, I said, I just can't imagine someone younger than me being mature enough or being like on my page. I just couldn't picture it, but I wasn't against it. But I didn't think it would happen, basically.
Okay. And so over the course of Shabbos, things are going well. And eventually you go out, which leads us up to this
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
where we are right now in Stories
Yeah.
of Hope. So, it's so interesting because you're artistic. You're clearly very musical. Did you think you would end up with someone like Yehuda, or did you think no one like Yehuda existed?
So people were trying to set me up. A lot of people who couldn't understand me thought that the only way that they could understand setting me up was to set me up with someone who plays guitar or someone, right? So they would be like, oh, he plays guitar. He does weddings. So you guys should go out. I'm like, that doesn't mean that we're right for each other because he plays guitar, right? So I actually kind of shied away from the music guys because I was just like, I don't need this. This is not what I'm looking for in a husband, in a life partner. It's amazing if we could connect in a musical way, but that's not the most important thing to me. And especially because people were trying to push that because that's the only thing they could clearly see that like maybe would make sense in their head. I was not specifically looking for anyone musical, but then I got someone very, very musical and very artistic, and so no, it was definitely not what I expected in that sense.
And what about you? Did you think you'd end up with someone like Nechama?
I mean, I could have never imagined Nechama, but I could say that the ego part of me wanted someone that doesn't matter if they played music or not, as long as they appreciated me and my music. But the other part of me, of course, wanted someone that I could grow with musically and grow with as a person, which is a very strong part of it is the artistic side and just to be on the same page. So obviously, if they didn't have that, I don't think it would have worked in some way.
Mm-hmm. And was there ever a point where you felt like, I feel like this is never going to happen? I'm feeling so discouraged and it's just so painful and hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's definitely been, I had an almost engagement at one point. Like my dress for my vart was at the seamstress. Like I had gone, pinned it up, everything. Like I thought that it was happening. And that meeting of thinking like we were going to get engaged any day was when I got dumped. So it was, I had a lot of situations like that. Like that was an almost engagement. But other than that, I've had breakups. I've had, dating people like, one and dones. I've had dating 6 dates or, I've had so many varied experiences, meeting people naturally, not meeting people naturally, which I was saying, I just want to meet someone naturally. And every time that it happened, which was a few scenarios, I would tell my rabbi from Neve that I'm still close to, Rabbi Baruch Smith, I would tell him it's not possible that it's ever going to happen again and he's like, what do you mean? This is Hashem. Like Hashem can do anything. And even so, you have evidence that it has happened a couple times before that you met and started dating someone from meeting naturally. Like if you believe that this is the way that's right for you and Hashem agrees, like then it will happen. And it happened, which is crazy. The biggest blessing, because I think also the shidduch system was just hard for me to like get to know people like in an authentic way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And I think a lot of people can relate to feeling like a system that really works for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't work for them, they're filled with fear and worry. Like, what's going to happen to me?
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to do. I don't know where else to go. And fear often creates anxiety, which often makes us lose focus that there's a plan. Like you said.
Sure.
And so in those moments where you, especially getting almost engaged, I mean, you said it casually, but
it was not casual.
It's not casual. It's not casual.
No.
When that happened, can we talk a little bit about how did you feel and how did you get through that?
Yeah, I mean, it takes me back. I actually had a Derech Hashem group where I like got together with friends at my house every Tuesday night and we learned from, that's like my favorite sefer. So I had a group that night and I had a date that day. I didn't think it would be a problem, but I came home at like 6 p.m. or 7. I don't know. And the group was like at 8, something like that. And I remember I came in and my sister actually, who got married before me, my younger sister, I went to her room to tell her and I literally fell to the floor. No joke, like making me emotional. Like I was just like, it's over. And like, I could not stand. I was doubled over sobbing. My mother saw what was going on, came, and I was just a mess. I was on the floor for like an hour crying and just thinking like my whole life is over. I was 24 at the time. So that was like, oh, finally, this is it. And I mean, thank God it didn't happen. But I remember just like washing my face and saying like, I'm going to go downstairs and we're going to have the Derech Hashem group as normal. Like this
really?
is, yeah. So
wow.
I remember wiping my face. I was a wreck and I calmed myself down and my friends came over and we sat around the dining room table and I led the group and we talked about Amuna and my sister was at the other end and every time we were, talking literally about Amuna. So she was like nodding to me and like giving me strength. It was very cute. And I got through it and I was like, this is the thing that's going to save me. This is going to be the thing that I'm going to hold on to. And that's when I wrote my song, I Still Have You, which is talking about Hashem. Like no matter what happens, no matter where my life experiences take me, like I have to be content knowing that I have Hashem and that my life is so much more than any person, than any circumstance, than any title, than anything. And I'm going to have to figure out a way to make that okay because I can't control my circumstances. I don't know if I'll ever get married. I have no idea. Like it could be a real reality. I know someone very close to me that I think is incredible that's in her 50s and not married. It could happen. And if it could happen, how am I going to be okay? Like how am I going to am I going to become not from because I don't get married? Like, how much am I going to let this dictate what I decide to do with my life and how I choose to live every day? Because I can only control what's in my control. And so I decided from that day on, like, this is going to be my turning point. This is going to be like Hashem over everything, my spirituality, myself over everything. Like, and if great things happen, I'll enjoy them and I'll love it and I'll be thankful for it. And other than that, I'll still be okay because this is my life. I have to live it.
Wow. I would have booked a ticket to Mexico. And I probably wouldn't remember the trip because of what I would do there. So I am blown away. Where did you get that clarity that having emunah is what would give you strength? Because the truth is, we're taught these ideas, but they're intellectual ideas.
Yeah.
And when we're having an emotional experience, we forget.
Mm-hmm.
And then we feel confused and angry because in our quest to protect ourselves from the person that hurt us, God, we distance ourselves from the remedy, which is actually getting closer to him. So where did you, and it might be innate, where did you get that clarity of this is what's going to get me through it?
I mean, I do have to credit my parents in the sense that they are very strong believers. Like, they are just like Hashem over everything. Thank you, Hashem. My father would like sing thank you, Hashem anytime we got a parking spot, or that, like, you know, just very, very like just amazing, connected to Hashem people. I think that definitely like gave me, I grew up in that environment and that definitely helped. I don't know. I think it was a decision. I really think like I was going to decide that I'm not going to just let it be an idea. Like, this, if this is truly how I'm living my life, if we believe that Hashem is it and this is the life that we're living, like, how could I just say like, oh, great, but then when life happens, not, you know, accept it? So I really decided, and that's when I wrote that song. That was like a decision of like, I'm going to choose to think and feel this way. And I realized like life, it sounds morbid, but like life is temporary. Like, I'm here for, I don't know, 80, 90, 120 years. And then the society expectations, and it's all a game in a way. Like, it's all like, it's beautiful and it's valuable. And it's like there's mitzvahs involved in all that. But like, if Hashem didn't give me that opportunity, I guess that's not my mitzvah right now. Meaning I just have to take it for what it truly is, which is, this is my life. I was put here. I'm a soul meant to use whatever experiences and circumstances I do get to actualize my potential and to be the best I can be. So if I don't get to choose the circumstances, then I'm still making the decision that I'm going to take my life seriously in that way. And I'm just going to hold on to like Hashem and trying to fulfill my purpose in any way that I could.
Really powerful, powerful speech. Ooh, TED Talk right there. Thank you. So,
She's full of them.
What'd you say?
She's full of them.
I know. Me and Nechama have been in touch. I know she's one of the good guys. So, Yehuda, your experience was so different, obviously. So different. And as someone that maybe ended up marrying someone unexpectedly younger than them, what's a message that you might tell someone listening who doesn't want to go out with someone younger than them? Sorry,
you mean older
than them.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was starting
brain.
to think from their perspective
as
the person you're looking for.
My brain thinks it's a different time right now.
I can answer both questions. Okay, but for someone who is...
For someone who doesn't date girls that are older than them, because I think that's something different that you did that I sort of want to highlight.
Yeah, every single year you get older, the fraction gets smaller, meaning... You know, you're going to get closer and closer in age as you get older. And it's not really going to matter if you're a few years apart as you get older. If you're wondering, are they going to be mature or too mature for you? I don't think that's really a problem in terms of if you are on their level, then you're good. If you're not on their level, are you ready to get married? I don't know. If you're both ready to be married, and like the worst thing you can think of, like if they're significantly way older than you, like maybe you're from two different worlds and you're just not going to have enough in common. But assuming that you have what in common and your only problem is age, I don't think that is really an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I can't really think of a logical reason.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you. We just want to hear from you. And Nechama, you already gave us your standing ovation, but what would you say your parting message would be for those listening that haven't found the right person yet, that feel like they're a creative soul. They don't fit a box. They don't feel like they were supported, and they're struggling to feel proud of who they are and believe that there's someone out there that is proud of who they are too. What would you tell them?
Yeah, I would say really to learn how to love yourself and trust yourself and do that self-development work, because I don't think without the years of therapy and coaching and mentorship from my rabbi and all the things I unlearned and relearned, I don't think without those I would be who I am today, and I would be able to make the decision that I did, because actually when I was making that decision, I met several people, with the 650 or whatever it was people there. And I actually felt myself naturally gravitating towards other people. And, I went to a mentor of mine and I'm like, I met a few people over this weekend and came down to two. And I was like, I think he's great, but maybe this other guy should go out. And she's like, why? I mean, it sounds like you're running away from what's good for you, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's like I had to reset and make the decision even to continue to explore this. So without the work, the self-development and the guidance, I don't think I would have made even this decision. So I would say to anyone listening that to really take your self-development and your life, whether it's spirituality or whether it's inner work in terms of self-development, take that seriously and make that your mission because who you become is not only going to inform the decision that you make, it's going to give you the confidence, the clarity, the ease during your dating process, and it's going to help you make a good decision, and it's going to help you sustain that good decision because, marriage definitely has a lot of challenges and things that come up along the way, and it will help you by having a strong foundation, knowing who you are, not relying on anyone else for your happiness. I mean, all these things will serve you for the rest of your life. So super important to focus on that.
And the amazing thing is that you don't have to go through it alone. There's therapy, there's workshops, Nechama has a program. There is so much support out there.
Yeah.
And the more you invest in yourself, sounds like the more you invest in yourself, the less you'll need to fight your insecurity that is being pushed onto you from other people.
Exactly.
So it's the best investment you can make.
Exactly.
Wow, it's been so fun hearing your story, so inspiring, all the way from Las Vegas. Thank you so much, Nechama Yehuda, for sharing your beautiful story of hope with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for watching another handcrafted, tailor-made, special story of hope. If you want to share your story, you know what to do. There are so many people that have sent us emails asking us to hit specific demographics. I will not stop trying. You'll have to hear me repeat the same thing over and over again until we hit every population, because every community deserves to be heard. Every story needs to be spread, and tremendous change is coming. So if you want to be a part of the change, let us know by emailing us at soh@meaningfulminute.org. If you enjoyed this episode, let Yehuda and Nechama know in the comment section below. So grateful to have you here in the SOH family. Thank you for being a part of our mission for change.